Hey guys, welcome to Screenception. So I personally always love the movie that keeps the viewer guessing what is happening and why. A slow mysterious build-up to slowly reveal the plot can work great if done correctly. Movies such as Fight Club, Prisoners, and Shutter Island are all masterpieces in doing this and keep the viewer on the edge of their seat till the final scene. Unfortunately, I've noticed that there really aren't that many good sci-fi horror movies, as following the success of Ridley Scott's 1979 masterpiece Alien, not many movies have been able to replicate that same feeling of doom, isolation, and mystery that facing a dangerous situation in deep space can create. Today, I would like to explore one of my favorite and underrated survivor sci-fi movies, Pandorum. Christian Olvert's 2009 sci-fi horror takes the audience on a terrifying survival adventure on a gritty, moist, and saturated spaceship called the Elysium. We are immediately told that by the year 2153, Earth has been overpopulated, leading to a lack of food and water, creating conflict between the people. The scene cuts and we are suddenly introduced to the main character, Corporal Bauer, who wakes up from hypersleep with some sort of amnesia. Soon after, another older crew member, Lieutenant Peyton, is woken up from his chamber, also suffering a similar mysterious condition. The ship keeps experiencing power surges caused by an unstable reactor, and they are unable to open the door to enter the bridge. Our two protagonists now face a mission in which they need to find a way to the reactor, to stabilize it, and gain control of the ship's power. Peyton decides to remain behind with access to the ship's computer to help guide Bauer through a communication signal on their devices. Bauer instead faces the daunting task of navigating throughout the ship to find the reactor and try to get some answers on the whereabouts of the other crew members. This is where the adventure, or rather the nightmare, truly begins. As he starts to move deeper within the ship, he loses communication with Peyton and starts to figure something has gone terribly wrong. Bauer, as a mechanical engineer, is completely out of his element once he discovers that the ship is home to cannibalistic, pale imp-like creatures who seem to be hunting humans and feeding on them alive. These creatures remind me somewhat of those shown in the 2005 horror movie The Descent. They seem primitive, yet are armored with sharp metal gear and wield sharp weapons and some flamethrowers that produce blue flames. They are very agile, fast, and work together to hunt, having learned the ins and outs of the spaceship. One of the most horrifying scenes in the movie shows one unfortunate passenger waking up from hypersleep, only to be pulled down, impaled, and eaten alive by these creatures. I remember first seeing these creatures on the screen and wondering to myself where they came from, what they were doing on the ship. Did the Elysium land on a distant planet and these were the inhabitants, and they'd been able to somehow get on the ship? Why were they here? They definitely add to the mystery of the plot and keep the audiences interested in understanding what is going on. At this point, as viewers, we truly start to grasp how dangerous this hostile environment is and feel uncomfortable and isolated in an unknown territory. The stakes are high now, and it seems like Bauer's mission is now much more dangerous than he had previously predicted. Throughout the movie, there are many scenes that get the audience's heart racing, as the creepiness of having to hide, avoid, and run away from these monsters in such a confined space is horrific. As Bauer explores the ship, he encounters different crew members who also woke up from their chambers with amnesia, but explain that their memories slowly but steadily came back. We learn that the ship contains 60,000 remnants of humanity, who are launched towards an Earth-like planet called Tanis, following the destruction of Earth, with hope to restore humanity on a new planet. In the meantime, Peyton encounters Gallo, a distressed crewman who appears from the ventilation system where Bauer had gone through. Gallo explains to Peyton that he had to fight off and kill his two crew members as they had suffered from Pandorum. Pandorum, which is a fictional term for a form of psychosis called orbital dysfunctional syndrome, caused by deep space and high levels of emotional distress, lead to paranoia and delirium. We had previously been introduced to this term in a conversation between Bauer and Peyton, in which in a flashback narrated by Peyton, we are told that a past mission called the Eden mission had failed, as the captain of that ship had suffered from Pandorum and ejected all 5,000 of his passengers in space, believing the ship to be cursed. 5,000 people ejected into oblivion into their own coffin. Truly horrifying. This conversation and Peyton's confused remark about Bauer's interest in the condition foreshadows the final revelation. In a disturbing yet very riveting sequence, Gallo is revealed to be an hallucination, as Peyton is Gallo. Gallo killed the real Peyton long ago, when he had developed Pandorum upon hearing Earth was gone and they were the last survivors. Because he went into Peyton's pod, Gallo mistakenly believed himself to be Peyton when he woke up with amnesia. Gallo's delirium led him to believe that humans would just destroy Tanis the way they destroyed Earth, and the passengers had been fed an enzyme that would help them adapt to new environments on Tanis, and through time their bodies mutated and evolved to thrive in their new surroundings aboard the Elysium. The passengers were locked by Gallo into an area of the ship, forcing them to cannibalize and unleash their more primitive desires to survive, becoming the monsters we see throughout the movie. Following the final fight between Gallo, Bauer, and Nadia, we are given the final revelation of the movie. The shutters on the ship's bridge's windows are opened, and bioluminescent ocean life is visible, with the computer displaying that the mission was launched 923 years ago, and it reached Tanis 800 years ago. They had been underwater the whole time. So, many people have referenced this movie as a successor of the 1997 movie Event Horizon. And while I can admit there are some similar elements, particularly concerning the plot twists and the delirium caused by the altered emotional and psychological state of the crew, I think Pandorum offers something quite particular. It delivers in making the viewers truly feel the emotional distress that the characters are going through. The feeling of being confined, cramped, and oppressed by the monsters in such a suffocating territory ultimately leads to their hysteria. With a simple situation-driven plot, it mixes gore, action, and mystery in a gritty, almost jungle-like environment. The wetness and almost organic deterioration of the ship, the gruesome monsters jumping around hunting like some ape-like creatures, and the humans facing psychological distress in deep space definitely make an original science fiction movie. Most of the characters wake up without any knowledge on who they are and what they are doing on a seemingly deserted ship, so they're just about as clueless as the audiences, and this helps drive the mystery of the plot. As the characters gain more clues, so does the audience, and we start to sympathize with their cause. The cast did a good job of portraying the fear, delirium, and disorientation of their characters. I particularly enjoyed the performances from Ben Foster as Bauer and Anya Trawe as Nadia. Dennis Quaid as a villain was an unconventional choice, but it definitely also pays off. Unfortunately, the movie bombed at the box office, grossing only $20.6 million on a budget of $33 million. I personally cannot wrap my head around why it got such bad reviews initially, as it definitely has something to offer. I'm glad to now notice that it has gathered a cult following, and interest is growing in it. As in my opinion, it is definitely one of the best horror sci-fi movies out there, along with Alien and Event Horizon. The lack of CGI, the practical effects, the costume and set design, the good pacing, and an intriguing story make this an enjoyable movie for sci-fi and horror lovers. Thanks for watching my video. I hope you enjoyed it. Have you seen Pandorum? If so, what are your thoughts on it? Leave it in the comments down below. If you haven't, hopefully this video has convinced you to watch it, as I've noticed that not many people have actually heard of the movie. The movie was actually supposed to be part of a trilogy, but following the poor reviews and the financial problems of the company who produced it, Overture, the movies were cancelled. Who knows what those two movies would have been about? Maybe about exploring Tanis? That could have been interesting. Even better, how about a prequel movie exploring Gallo suffering Pandorum and his fall into madness, showing us the horrible things he did to the passengers on the ship? That would have been really interesting. Anyway, I'll catch you guys in my next video. Thanks for watching.